Yo guys, we're here in Barcelona under quarantine at the old apartment. It's about 7:59 at night, and when it hits 8 o'clock, people go to the windows and start clapping, and it brings like a good positive vibe that we're all gonna get through this, that the world is gonna get through this together. Every day at 8 o'clock, people just start standing by the windows and start clapping. You'll see it pretty soon. It's like 7:59 right now.
Hi guys! You're bored? I'm bored, man.
Muchas gracias!
Visca Barça!
Mira, compra.
Walang bayad ng bahay! Walang bayad ng tubig!
Now this goes on for like 3 or 4 minutes. Morning, Jaycationers. It's 5:20 in the morning. I'm catching a 9 a.m. flight to London. From London, go to LA. LA, I drive back to San Diego. We're doing this during the crisis, and it's one of the last days we're able to. So hopefully, keep you guys' fingers crossed that at the end of this video, I'm home. If not, you'll see me back on this couch real quick.
Love you, ate.
Love you, Kuya.
Buntis.
Yes. Have a safe trip, okay?
Alright guys, let's go.
With the Aerobus being limited, I had to hop into a taxi which I hailed through an app and got over to Plaza Catalunya for €7, and it was eerily quiet over in Plaza Catalunya. I got on the Aerobus, I paid by card €5.90 and made my way over to the airport. On the way over, I saw all the stores, granted it was early in the morning, all shut down. Now the Aerobus usually splits between Terminal 1 and Terminal 2, but in this case, they switch the service and has to go to Terminal 1 first and then stop and then drops you off at Terminal 2. Once I got to the airport, it was eerily quiet.
Alright, Jaycationers, so we made it to the airport. It's a ghost down here. The Aerobus, it's a lot slower because it has to go through Terminal 1 and do all these other stops until you get here to Terminal 2. But I got my ticket, I'm checked in the Norwegian, the bags are checked, going to London. Only place open was to get coffee, CR coffee. So I got my cafe con leche, I got my naranja, my orange juice, a croissant. And yeah, it's about 7 in the morning. Hopefully we're okay to go. I fly out at 9. Another thing that I noticed is that on the speakers, they're saying that you must keep 1 meter away from other passengers, and it's a ghost town here, and people are keeping their distance from the passengers and stuff. And yeah, everything's smooth. It's just, you know, there's more barriers to people. Like when I was getting coffee, there's only 2 people allowed in the entire coffee shop, each way. So yeah, that's the times we live in this crisis. Look at this, all the tables and chairs at like the cafes and restaurants around the airport, they're all wrapped up and you can't even sit down. The only places you can sit are these airport chairs, and even then people are social distancing. Like right now, like there's maybe 6 people in this whole area. Look at it. And everybody's all far away, spread out, doing the social distance thing.
Once I finished my coffee, I started to make a stroll over to the gate, and it was eerily empty at Barcelona airport. Usually one of the livelier airports, not a single soul.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, this is freaking creepy. There's hardly any people here. And like, when I went through immigration, they just literally didn't even look at my passport. They just stamped it and said, go. And we're like, open the passport for me. They didn't, they're just, you know, social distancing at its best, guys.
Barcelona is usually like a 2.5-hour flight to London, and because of a lack of air traffic, the flight got into London like 45 minutes earlier. And when I got to London, the scene at the airport was a lot different than the emptiness in Barcelona. Here's an aerial view of Montserrat, the famous Saw Mountain.
Please instruments will be seatbelt fasten and keep the air clear from all your baggage until the aircraft has come to complete stop.
In London Gatwick Airport, it almost felt like the crisis hasn't even hit the area yet, although the restaurants were closed.
Yo, what's up, Jaycationers? We're now here in London from Barcelona. Our flight was just zooming here. We got here like at least 45 minutes early. Now it's about 10:30. My flight's not till 12:50. And I got through the x-ray screening. And note to people traveling, if you do put hand sanitizers on your hand and they're still wet when you touch your bags, the sanitizer shows up when they do that swab thing. And they said it's all good, but yeah, they stop you for that. So make sure, I don't know, maybe your hand sanitizer is dry by the time you touch your bags.
Once I boarded the plane, the first thing I saw was, it's a long flight, have some fun. But the truth is, the anxiousness just filled me. And the entire way home, I was just going through random scenarios about what if somebody on board was sick and then we all got quarantined, or how's the air conditioning like, keep your mask on. And I was just really, really worried, and it's already difficult for me to even sleep on the plane, so I did not sleep on this entire flight. And when we got off, we deboarded by 10 passengers at a time, and the CDC met us outside the gate and gave us a brief health screening. So that added to the nervousness.
Back in the United States of America, they did have health questionnaires and screenings once you got off the plane, and then they did also take my temperature when I found out I went to a Schengen. I was all good, 98 degrees, so they let me go. My global entry was quick, and yeah, now I'm good. I'm back in America, I'm back home, thank God. Now I'm renting my car, drive back to San Diego.
Hey Jaycationers, as you can see, thankfully, through the grace of God, I am back home in my room under a self-quarantine for 14 days. This is day 4, I believe. So originally, I was supposed to come home on April 8th. Now, while I was in my Airbnb in Barcelona around March 13th, March 14th, I had received a message from Norwegian Airlines saying that my April 8th flight was canceled. So when they canceled my flight, I was able to log on to their website, and it gave me a bunch of different flights that I could choose to fly home. Now, I noticed that after March 21st, there weren't any flights available until maybe the end of April almost. So there was a whole span of maybe even a month where I couldn't fly home. Borders being closed and the travel bans being implemented, I knew that I had to just get out of there and I just had to come home. So I booked that final day, March 21st, from Barcelona to London, London to LAX. And fortunately, guys, I'm back home. Didn't pay any fees. I honestly just logged on, picked that flight, and I was good to go. And fortunately, I didn't run into any other problems. It was also around March 12th, 13th that my mom did, and my parents both requested that I do try to make my way back home. With flights and fares being so high, I just couldn't see how I could have done it unless Norwegian canceled my flight, which they eventually did, and I was able to replace my canceled flight with this earlier flight back home. So I'm very thankful for getting home, and shout out to Norwegian for making this process really smooth and automated. I did a pretty bad job chronicling the leg from London back to Los Angeles and what happened. Now, I was dealing with a lot of nervousness and anxiousness, just the fact that I wanted to get home, and I don't really deal well with things when I hear that the travel advisory is at a level 4 and that you're gonna be screened when you get off the plane. And I started going through all these different scenarios. What if somebody was sick coming off the plane and we were all quarantined? I don't know, I was just coming up with weird reasons. Once we got off the plane, the CDC was there. There were 10 people. They were all in hazmat suits with clipboards, gloved up, goggles and everything. And they ask you, all these questions that you have already seen on a questionnaire by that time. When I boarded my plane from Barcelona to London, if you're an American citizen, they give you this sheet of paper that you're just supposed to fill out. You don't have to sign it or anything. You just need to fill out if you've been to Iran in the last 14 days, if you've been to China or its provinces in the last 14 days, if you've been to a Schengen country in Europe the last 14 days. So that was checked as a yes since I was in Spain. Then they ask you if you've had a cough, if you've had a fever, or if you've also dealt with shortness of breath the last 24 hours. And I obviously checked no on all of that because that was the truth. And when they did find out I was in a Schengen country, the CDC girl that did screen me just asked me politely to take off my hat. So she zapped me with the temperature gun and my temperature was normal. I was just really nervous because, I've never gone through that before. Once the health screening was done, they gave me this brochure talking about how to self-quarantine the right way. That was actually the ticket to use to get through customs, to get through immigration, to show that you passed the health screening. Once I got the global entry, not a single soul in global entry. Got through, put my fingerprints in, the guy saw the receipt, didn't even touch the receipt actually. Once I went down to baggage claim in LAX, my bags were already going around the carousel, grabbed my bags, didn't even bother going to the restroom, dehydrated from the flight, went straight to the rental car pickup. Once I got to Hertz, it was still a ghost town. I checked in, I grabbed my car, I needed coffee, I needed water, but honestly, I just wanted to get home. So I just booked it from LAX back down to San Diego, and usually it takes about 2.5 to 3 hours to get home. Freeways, they were not empty, but they were definitely a lot lighter, especially on a Saturday evening, and I was able to book it home. I got home, my parents opened the garage, and honestly, I'm trying to stay as far away as I can from my parents, even though they wanted me home safely. They cleared the way. I went straight to the bathroom, took a long shower, grabbed all my clothes I used from travel, threw it in the laundry, and disinfected it all that night. Barely ate dinner, fell asleep, and then the next day, just went through the beginning of this 14-day quarantine. So up until now, my bags, my luggages, they're all in the garage. And before I left Barcelona, I did laundry, but I'm still gonna do laundry again. And now that I'm home in the United States, we are in the midst of this 14-day self-quarantine. I'm feeling good, taking showers and staying in my room, staying away from my parents. We're back home in San Diego. And after this video, I'm gonna go off chronological order once again and start showing you guys the travel content that I did film before the crisis had started. So stay tuned for that. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks guys for tuning in and listening to my story, my travel story about escaping Europe during the crisis. I just wanted to say to everybody, #stay at home. Please wash your hands, use your hand sanitizer as much as possible, and just be safe, and let's all flatten the curve together and get through this crisis together. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video.